Hey everybody, welcome to Tavern Talk. I'm getting better. I'm getting
Hey!
better at that. I'm not calling it Tavern Knights every time.
Yeah. Nice
Um,
to be back. It's been a couple weeks.
yes, and we were off. We didn't game on our normal game night. We took the night
Yeah.
off because we're kind of in that transition of getting back into the nerd basement, the actual physical nerd basement, and playing there. And I'm looking forward to it. I gotta say,
Right.
it
Exactly.
Really looking forward.
It's
last
going to be nice to be back around the table.
Yeah, last Friday we played Red Dragon Inn for about an hour and a half and streamed just a surprise stream
Yeah.
out of the blue, and it was a lot of fun. Things looked good. They sounded good. Well, they sounded all right. You can only do so much when you don't have a professional studio.
Right. Yeah.
But we were able to sit around. I've got an overhead cam that was showing the table, which that game not as much goes on the table itself, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But got some other stuff set up. It you all right?
There's a fly in here.
Get some chopsticks.
Yeah. He who catch fly with chopstick can accomplish anything.
Look, I did it. Beginner luck.
But it worked out really well on Friday.
Yeah, it did. And like I said there, though, sitting at the table with a bunch of other people around and actually playing or talking, even talking about playing, because we did talk about the game some, but just sitting around talking about it and getting that feeling again, it honestly felt weird to me because it's been so long.
Oh, okay.
You're used to a little bit of a disconnect
Yeah,
in this way, rather than uh, a lot of back and forth. You're building off of each other by being in person with each other, rather than us just finishing talking, waiting, and then the next person to be able to talk through when it comes to like Zoom or other means of having like essentially video conferencing, right?
I
yep,
think we had gotten to a point where we were doing pretty good about like not talking over each other
Yeah.
and allowing people to kind of say what they wanted to say, get things out. That was one of the things that I was afraid was going to happen when we started streaming, was that there'd be a lot of over talking and stuff. But I think we got to a point where it really wasn't a thing, and I was really glad for that, honestly.
But there's
yeah,
a different dynamic for sure, because let's say, when we were doing our gaming sessions, all of us except for Phelan and Lauka,
Mm,
Ian and Sydney's character, were all separated. They were always together.
true.
You can easily tell there's a different dynamic between the pair of them because they can bounce off of each other a lot more seamlessly
Right.
than the rest of us. I felt like they were able to like do a lot more I like fluid role play. I feel off of each other because of that opportunity that they were able to be with each other. And
Mm.
like you said, Chris, kind of getting back together is like it's a different dynamic. You have to kind of reacclimate yourself to that almost.
yeah. And I think it's going to be good, though. I think it's going to be a good thing for us to be back around the table. I think the role play is going to come even more naturally for
Oh
a lot
yeah,
of
of course.
people because you can just talk to each other right there at the
Yeah.
table. And to Russ's point about not talking over each other, part of that issue can really get bad when you're streaming on or when you're doing an online game if anyone has lag.
Right. Exactly.
Russ and I have ran into that early on in our streaming. Was at times where one of us would be lagging behind the other, and it made it really tough. Particularly like when Russ was in Florida, when we would do those, a lot of times there would be just that little bit of lag,
Yep.
so that he would say something, I would start talking, he wouldn't hear it until,
Oh,
and then so he would start talking again, and then he would start, and then it would be like we were talking over each other, but it really wasn't. It was just that he wasn't hearing what I was doing and what I was saying until like a couple seconds later.
did you ever have that trouble with your buddy in Ireland for your other D&D game?
Not so much.
Oh, interesting.
not on Discord and not on what is it? The Forge that we're using now.
Okay.
We haven't really had those types of issues. When Russ and I would get it, it was actually mostly on Skype.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And that was the other thing too. It was before, like when we first started having to stream the show when I was in Florida, we were using Skype and it was before the pandemic, before we had Zoom, before they kind of fine-tuned a lot of this kind of thing.
Everyone did, right?
Yep.
You have Microsoft has their own thing, Facebook has theirs. It all started kind of with Zoom. The technology existed, but it was still kind of early stages of it. And then when the pandemic hit, I think everyone went all in on that technology to perfect it, to make sure, to make it work for the new environment of the world, essentially, right?
But I gotta say, I'm really happy that we had the online options to be able to keep playing, because I'll tell you what, a year and a half without D&D, that would suck.
Yeah. That would have been really difficult. I think one, and I think this is a truism, the truth. MMO traffic definitely increased during COVID. You know, people were getting back. I know several people specifically that got either back into or into MMOs because they were just fucking bored, man, and they wanted to get back into doing like at least some kinds of, and I think they even got into doing some MMOs that specifically did RPing, you know, and like our RP groups and whatnot else that actually like they got into Neverwinter, or they got into like I think D&D Online is still on there. There's like Neverwinter is the one Dungeons and Dragons MMO, and then there's the older one, like Dungeons and Dragons Online or something like that still exists. It's really weird. I think it does. I'm not sure, but then I mean, hell, I got back into that City of Heroes free server, and
there's a guy I work with that got back into Star Wars Galaxies.
Right.
Which I guess that's still out there. As I think it's like City of Heroes though, where it's somebody just put a sandbox out and and all that. So, but yeah, I mean, I got back into playing multiple MMOs. I got back into playing Star Wars. I did get into WoW. I'm out of that now, but yeah, anything for that little bit of other contact. Although, really, in Star Wars, I don't really talk to anybody else. I just play it as a solo game.
Okay.
Mostly because my guild kind of imploded before the pandemic, so
yeah, that happens.
Yeah, everyone kind of stopped playing. I mean, the game's been out for 10 years this year, so they're planning on doing a huge. I guess they're doing a big update this October, November to celebrate the 10-year anniversary. A whole new expansion
of Star Wars,
the Old Republic, the Old Republic.
Yeah. Did you guys hear about? I know this isn't. I mean, we don't got a whole lot of like. We're not going to be talking much about Tavern Knights because.
Well, we'll be talking about what we're going to be doing coming up, but yeah.
Right. Did you guys hear about the new Skyrim edition that's coming out in November?
Oh, for their 10-year?
They're releasing Skyrim again.
Yep.
And what they're going to be doing is it's an anniversary edition.
And
it's going to be including, I guess it's going to be including 500 things from the it's like a content creator, the content club, where they're including 3 big things. One is a big like storyline thing that you could buy, and then they're going to be like throwing in like another like 500 different but basically mods that you can that are approved and whatnot that you can use. And I was just like, holy shit. It's actually a pretty big deal. And if you already have the special edition, which I have, it's like a free upgrade to a 5th edition, like a PS5 version.
Nice.
Yeah. So I guess it's not quite ready yet, but when they do have the upgrade to the PlayStation 5 version, it'll be essentially free. So yeah, they're releasing a new edition, and it is going to be for sale, and there is going to be like you can buy the anniversary, like an anniversary upgrade. It's still like the 15th time that Skyrim has been available now in all these different like kinds, because it was originally came out on the PS3, or well, the PS3 and the Xbox 360. Then it was up. Then they released a second version, and then they released with the DLC, and then they released the Legendary Edition, which was for the was that for the three? Yeah, the Legendary Edition for the PS4, and they just keep like releasing it again. They put the VR edition, and they released it on the Switch, and so it's been like released like fucking 15 times, and now they're gonna do it again. Yeah, kind of. You know, I mean, Skyrim. I think Skyrim's got the record probably of how many times a single game has been released in either different platforms or multiple times, and it's still a hugely successful game. It'll be 10 years old coming up, and it's still an amazingly successful game. I like the game a lot. I enjoy it. It's one of my favorite games, but I'm just like, holy shit, I mean, I still play it. I still play it here and there. I do. I still play it here and there, just like I still play Fallout and Fallout 4. But I got a lot of other games to play too. You know, I'm just like, I got a friend that's literally bought it 10 times.
Oh, wow.
I bought it once. I started playing it, and then I stopped.
Yeah, because you're punked out. You got to keep playing.
Yeah, same thing happened to me. I got through. I thought that I was part of like the main storyline, but it was actually like a side quest. But then the side quest actually like glitched on me, and it wouldn't let me get back onto like the main quest or something. And after that, it was like I had to like go back to like a previous entry from like hours before I even started this one particular side quest, because I did just the right thing to like glitch it. And after that, I was like, I got out of it at that point.
See, that's kind of what happened to me with Oblivion, with the previous Elder Scrolls game. And like I had played Elder Scrolls games over the years. You know, I played Daggerfall, I played Morrowind, and I was like, okay, these are cool games. You know, these are fun. And they're fantasy games. They're very involved, pretty cool. I bought Oblivion for my PS3, and I started playing it, and I kind of went, because on Oblivion, there's a lot less guidance to where you have to go next. You know, you just kind of have to find the places you kind of got to go, and like in Skyrim, there's at least a map marker that'll go, you have to go here. And so you can, if you go in the right directions, if you get on your horse or you start running, you could eventually get there. And I think if I remember correctly, Oblivion did not have that, and it was one of those like, shit, now where do I go? And I was like,
I know Morrowind didn't, because I remember just running through fields not knowing where the fuck I was in Morrowind.
Right, exactly. Very easy to get lost, and or not, or at the very least, not just get lost, but not know where to go. Just where do I go to get to do this quest? And that's the way I kind of was with Oblivion. So I played it for a bit, and I was like, and so many of my friends were like, oh my God, you're gonna get so addicted. It's so good. It's so fantastic. And I was playing other games at the time too. And I was like, maybe I'll come back to this later. And I never did. So I didn't play Skyrim right away. I was like kind of waited, and then it became like one of the greatest games of all time. People kept going on and on and on about it. So I kind of picked it up maybe 6 months, maybe a year after it came out. I was like, I'll finally get it. I'll pick it up. And I was just like, holy shit, this is such a good game, an amazing game. And the DLC didn't even come out for the PlayStation 3 right away. Like, it came out for the Xbox first. And then they had to because apparently the PS3 was difficult to code for. It had a different kind of a different kind of like setup, the way it accepts, software or whatever. So I'm not a coder, so all I know is the PS3 was difficult to code for. And so I finally did get into playing the game, and I couldn't stop. Like, I didn't play anything else for like 6-8 months, probably maybe a year. because it is such a massive game. I mean, like you can get pretty high in level just doing side quests before you even go and get like unlock your Dragonborn abilities. You know, it's like I've seen people hit 30th level or higher before they even get into the main quest, and it's built basically for you to pretty much start with the main quest and just kind of and then not branch off first and then go to the trunk, you know. So it was pretty nuts. But like I said, they've done graphic updates on it. The way you can mod it, it's so wonderfully modded. People do some wonderful things with that game by modding it to the point where it's like it's an entirely different game. Like they'll take the engine and adjust it and create entirely new games by using the engine, and you put some mods in and stuff. Now I mod it on, and I played on my PlayStations, so I don't play it on the computer, and honestly, in the computer are the best ways to mod it. Yep. You know, like any Bethesda games, they always say that the computer's the best way to play it because that's where you get the best modding ability, which is very true. In fact, I'm not going to have any choice. The next time I buy a Bethesda game, it'll have to be on my computer, because Starfield will only be on Xbox and computer and Microsoft, and the same thing with Skyrim 5 Skyrim 2 or Elder Scrolls 6.
Oh, okay,
yeah. But God, you guys, both of you, sit down and play the goddamn game.
I got a life.
A backlist, and I got a backlog of games that I'm still trying to get through right now.
Okay, yeah. So Bob just said until you get so many mods loaded, you glitch out the game and have no clue which mod or combination of mods did it.
That's true. Stinker Faye, that's Bob.
Yeah.
All right, Bob. Nice to see you. I'm looking forward to seeing you at the game. Yes, that's also true. You got to be careful with those mods, man, because they will throw in like, hey, did you see CD gave us some money?
That was a while ago, dude.
No, I thought wasn't the last tipper somebody else?
No.
I could have swore. I thought we had a different, maybe it was just the latest follower. All right. Anyway, yeah, it is true. Like you can glitch the game out if you have too many weird mods that conflict. Yeah. So
and some are required to like have another particular mod added in. You have to have like a prerequisite for it to be on, so you have to make sure that you have everything loaded appropriately.
Correct. There are the thing is about the computer too is you get some of the more adult mods, which are really kind of a crack up. You know, you get like the mods that like give all the female characters huge boobs or something like that, or you know, I'm not really down for that. I mean, that just is kind of juvenile in my opinion, but they do have some of the mods that aren't available on the PlayStation are some of the costume oriented mods or armor and weapon mods that you aren't available because they use outside resources to create the items or whatever. So yeah, you might have like really cool like anime style armor or different kinds of things, like different anime, different armor and weapon styles that like are not available. All dragons have Homer Simpson heads, right? Or all the dragons have Randy Macho Man Savage heads, and instead of saying dragon speak, they just go, oh yeah. They breathe. Or all the dragons become Thomas the Tank Engine. I've seen some of those. I mean, you can look them up on YouTube. They're fucking hilarious, man. There's some really funny shit that people do with old Skyrim.
Yeah, people with a lot of time on
way too much fucking time on their hands. Way too much.
So Chris, the Slim Jim breath weapon is dangerous.
So Chris, speaking of Bob, I know that after we had our little test session on Friday, I know that he was kind of sticking around to kind of discuss his character with you. Yeah, everything get figured out?
For the most part. Yeah, for the most part. Yeah, we're. I'm ready to bring him in. I know how he's coming in. Well,
That's great.
I know how I'm bringing him in. So.
Okay. And we have a potential for another one in a couple weeks. It sounds like, hopefully.
Hopefully, yep. We'll talk about that later. We won't reveal anything
No.
right now, but.
No. But just.
But yes, we have a potential sixth.
Would you have a potential sixth person?
Yep.
Okay. You'll have to tell me off camera later. I'm
Yep.
intrigued.
It'll probably not be until October.
Anybody I know?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's cool though. I really like having like the three on each side or whatever. You know, just I like having.
It will be 3 on a side to the table, the way that it's set up.
Kind of like the way Crit Roll does it.
Yes. Yep.
I just think it's a good. I mean, six. When you've got 6 players, you can have a really good balance of abilities.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I always feel like you need one of each of the major classes. You need a fighter, you need a mage, you need a thief, you need a ranger, an acrobat. No, I mean you need a fighter. That's for the D&D nerds listening. Yeah.
What's funny, actually, speaking of that, sorry, not to, I don't mean to interrupt, but while I'm thinking about it, I was at B Nectar yesterday with Renee because she had to do something. Sitting in the tap room, and I look up, and the D&D cartoon is actually on one of the TVs.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Were they playing it, or was it like just on some channel?
They were streaming it, I think.
Oh, that's fun.
I wonder where you can stream it. I have the bootleg.
I have the official. I have the official DVDs.
My bootleg ones are pretty good. They're pretty, you wouldn't know, but no, you need a fighter, you need a mage, you need a thief, you need a cleric, and you need a
wizard.
A mage.
You said a mage.
Mage, cleric, fighter,
thief.
rogue.
Those are the foes. Those are the 4.
Yeah, you need the 4, and then so you need the 4 main ones. Excuse me, I thought I said 5, but you need the 4 main ones, and then the other 2 are gravy. Are support or whatever. Like so, maybe you have a ranger, or you have a paladin, or you have a bard, or you have a warlock, or you have an artificer. Something like that. You get. It's good to have a well-rounded group, and I think 6 is a good way to get there.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I had a suggestion to Renee on who I think that we could get. And we have a lot of those. It was actually getting interesting with like our group with 7. And
yeah, because I was going to say, you guys are doing just fine without one of those 4.
Yeah, we never had the.
You've never had the rogue.
The rogue.
And we didn't even have a rogue when we had 7 people in the
Nope.
party. And that always rankled me a little bit, man. I mean, because honestly, too, since rogues have become a lot more useful in combat, it is nice having that, that backstab damage and flanking and all those nice little things that rogues do.
True, but I like the interesting dynamic not having it almost at the same time. Now,
sure,
given we don't know who the new characters are going to be introduced as, they could be replacing the ones that we happen to lose, or they actually might be new classes that we actually haven't had before, like a rogue. But I kind of like the fact that it's a little bit more unusual. Like we had so many arcane casters, for example, versus like having like the planned out, like, okay, maybe when you're creating like a new campaign, like one person, like it's kind of maybe planned out in advance. We all kind of brought to the table, we wanted to have character concepts, not creating like the best well-rounded maxed out party to be able to like blast through everything, right? We all kind of went through wanting to create these particular concept characters. And I, again, Chris, always, applaud you for allowing us to have so much leeway to be able to create what we want, and you integrating it, and not kind of like saying like, well, you already have a sorcerer and you already have a bard. Why do you need to be a wizard? You round it out. You should be, one of these type of characters.
Yep.
you're always very open-minded about making it work out, and I thought that's been working out pretty well.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's
I
the
tried.
thing. We haven't had a rogue in the party, but at the same time, we haven't had a whole lot of lock picking that we've needed to do. You know?
And when you do, the mage is the one that picks the locks.
Right. Yeah.
I'm the closest to a rogue in a way, technically.
Well, and the thing is too is that when you guys had all those casters, yeah, you had a mage, a sorcerer, and a bard, and you almost had a fourth one in that Renee's original concept for her character was going to be taking the way of the four elements, which is basically all arcane casting using key points.
Oh.
Interesting. So
half ogre rogue, or Gork the sneaker. You know, see Gork.
Yeah, some racial kind of things don't work as well. The half ogre rogue. Remember when you could play a half ogre?
Yep.
Man, that was one of those classes they nerfed him back.
The half ogres, half giants.
Like a third, when they hit third edition, they kind of got rid of some of those.
Yeah,
because I don't think a half ogre was available. Like
I think it was later. I think half ogres were available later in.
It might have been in a supplement later, but it wasn't in the original, like in the books.
But yeah, so you can get by now because anyone can use thieves' tools. That's the thing. It's just you don't get your proficiency bonus, so you don't get that +3 that a rogue would get right now.
God damn it, Bob. Block and tackle.
Yeah, I remember those guys.
Which is not absolutely necessary. It kind of adds in like that flavor to the game that, all right, we're using, like I have thieves tools, went out and bought them like halfway through the campaign, but we didn't have them for a little while, so couldn't exactly pick locks, so we're blasting them. I remember in the very beginning, until they opened. But now it's like, all right, well, I have them, not proficient in them, but can still use them. But you also gave options during downtime if anyone wanted to actually become proficient. Well, give it 7 weeks of intense training. You can get that proficiency bonus if you wanted to. Any of us could do it, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's just.
And I'm sure in Greyhawk there is someone out there in like the Thieves Guild area that could probably teach that if we were so inclined to do so.
I think basically what it is just like roguish characters are like it's easier. Isn't it easier maybe?
And see, the character that I want to play, if I ever get to play in a 5th edition campaign, is a rogue. I've had this concept for this rogue for years now, and I've never had the opportunity to play him.
Right on.
So I'm hoping somebody, at some point, runs a 5th edition campaign that I can play in.
Gives you the chance.
Yes. To run Zendavian, my tiefling rogue.
Okay.
Right on.
You could always have like Russ pinch hit as DM for you, and you can your own.
Thanks for volunteering me there.
Well, as you say that, Bob came in with Russ needs the DM.
I didn't do that.
I mean, as you were saying it.
Yeah, listen, if you want me to
great
DM,
minds think alike.
If you want me to DM, you need to give me plenty of lead time so we can.
Yeah, we don't even have a logo yet. You think we're gonna get an adventure from him?
He's hiding now.
I'm out.
All right, so but yes, I think being back around the table, we're gonna have a good time. I'm gonna be I still gotta drop some maps. I think I've got everything set up for the stream itself now. I don't have like borders and stuff for the for my camera or the 2 side cameras yet, but that'll be stuff that's gonna take me a little while to work out.
Does your work have like those big printout like printers at all?
Mm-mm.
Like that old Oh, okay.
Nothing
So
I
you
nothing I can use. It's all locked down with badge swipes and stuff.
Yeah. Same goes to me, and I don't even know like where they're at this point in time. It'd be pretty sweet to like print out like a gigantic Greyhawk map.
Well, I have one.
Oh, you actually do have that one from the original.
Yeah.
Right, from your original box. That's
Yes.
right, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I also have a map of the world, the continent that you guys are on.
But didn't you add in like some of your like some towns and that
Well, yeah, like Phandalin isn't on the map, and the Temple of the Open Mind isn't on the map, but
everything else is pretty much
the
same. You just added in those particular ones.
Yeah, like Haven Hill's there, and Gryrax is there, and Greyhawk's there, and Scant, where you guys were in Onwall on your boat trip. Those are all there. Scant. Yep.
So it's a lovely name for a village, little town. Well, like I said, I am definitely looking forward to being around the table. It's going to be it'll be good to be back.
And I'm planning on drawing up maps again. I think I've got some various things I can use. Like I've got some props and stuff like that I can use as well. I'm still working on getting some stuff printed out and painted and all that. And a lot of stuff that we use, it may not be what it actually is. You know, it may be, oh, look, you know, these are orcs, and I put out just a bunch of figs that are going to represent them. There may be times where, okay, this isn't, this thing, but I can put it out. Or even these are what they're supposed to be, but they're not painted.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Just kind of being around the table, interacting with those physical objects and being around with each other. Honestly, I think just being around each other, having that dynamic again is what I'm looking most forward to. And sharing that type of experience. Like I said, there's like a disconnect here that I think that when you're around the table, it's a lot more fluid. And I think that it's going to be even better this time around, because when we left, Rich, Renee, and I were still really new to the game. It was only a couple months into it overall. And then I think that we started in October, and then we kind of started around the end of March. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't very long before, we started doing it this way. And I think that we've grown so much in terms of our, getting into our characters. Eventually there's a point in time where instead of saying oh, my character Euchariah does this and he says this, and it's no, I'm more in character, and I'm speaking what my character would be saying in real time. And it just kind of fluidly shifted as I got more confident and within my character. I know Rich and Renee have done the same thing with their own characters, but it was after we started doing it this way with Zoom, not in person yet. So when we get back in person, I think it'll be a lot.
And for me, it'll be better because I can do some more mannerisms and things like that for some of the characters. So I tried doing some for Borislav, because he's this big, boisterous character. So he does big movements and things like that. Like I did with
person, you're really going to be able to take up the space, and we'll be able to appreciate that.
And it's like what I did with Harbin, the original town master of Phandalin, where I would sit there and just do this with my hands while he was talking with you. And Renee's like, I just want to punch him just for that. She's like, I hate him. And I'm like, you're supposed to.
On the screen instead of looking over and seeing it right next to you is a different experience.
Yep.
And you react differently from it, I feel.
I think it's more visceral when you're there.
Yes.
When you're in person. There you get that there's that connection, and you can feel it's more of you get to feel what you're supposed to feel. But one of the things I do want to do when we get around the table is I want to get back to just when we're playing, you're your character. And what you say is what your character says. Now you can ask questions, say, hey DM, is this or if we're doing something and we can talk outside of character. But for the most part, if you're in a social situation in the game, if you say something, that's what your character says.
Yeah, and I think that for us new players, Rich, Renee, and I, we've gotten a lot more comfortable with that over the last year, especially. We didn't have that when we were still around the table. It kind of grew after when we started doing it. Doing this a little bit more often, because before that we were doing it once a month, right? And
yep.
That there was a long break. Like this past month has seemed a lot longer than all the other times, because we've been doing it every 2 weeks.
Yep.
And now it's been a month, and it feels like a month. It feels like a long time.
We're actually still going to get 2 games in this month because of the way that they fell. We played on August 2nd, and we'll be playing
That's right.
on August 6th? 27th? 27th.
No.
Yeah, we played on the 6th and
the 17th.
Oh no, we didn't. We would have played the 13th. So we actually played right at the end of July. That's when it was.
So we're doing the 27th.
I was thinking July. We played 3 times in July.
And then we're going to do it on the 10th, right?
And then the 10th, yep. Yeah, the 27th and then the 10th. So that's the plan right now anyway. So, yeah, I think being around the table is going to be a lot more fun, a lot more engaging, and I think it's going to be more entertaining overall.
I agree, yeah. And I think it's a great way to introduce a brand new character.
Yep,
for sure.
That getting that unique dynamic all of a sudden, like for the first time, like when we're all with each other, and then all of a sudden you're adding in a brand new character. Since he's going to be, obviously, you're planning on doing it in the very next game, and Bob is going to be coming in, and it'll be really great. And had a great time on Friday interacting with him. I know that I met him probably. Definitely the one time at your wedding. I'm not sure if it was ever a time after that, if we ever had crossed paths before, maybe.
Yeah, maybe at a barbecue or something.
Yeah, maybe once, but I felt like we clicked pretty well. That went really good. We had a lot of fun playing the game.
Yeah, he said multiple barbecues actually.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. Yeah, he's a very experienced player, so I think he's going to bring a lot of creativity to the.
Which is good, because we need another experienced player, because we lost so many experienced ones. Everyone that we've lost, Ed especially being the most experienced that we've lost, and then Ian and Sydney were the semi-experienced players that have been playing for a couple of years, but
I wouldn't say Ed is any more experienced than I am. I mean, we're right around the same age. We started.
No, I mean, like out of the 3 that we lost, he was the most experienced.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So the whole point of the podcast is that we were trying to get a good balance between very experienced players and newbie players. And now, if you're to stack it all up, Russ, you are the most experienced player by far. So you have a bunch of new players and you right now. So having Bob in here, someone that is just as experienced as you guys are, I think is really great to like rebalance that dynamic again.
Yeah, I've actually been gaming with Bob longer than I've known Russ.
Yeah, you and Bob go way back, right?
Yeah, early 90s.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. I get it.
Yeah, it's been about 30 years.
God,
I can't believe that, man. It's just, I think back, I still don't think back that 91 was 30 years ago. 91 was like 10 years ago.
No, man. No.
Yeah, we're old.
We are ancient. We are ancient and old, and yeah, it sucks.
You ever see those things of like, you're old when like the Little Mermaid is closer to the moon landing than it is to today?
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Well,
You're
there's
a motherfucker. Why would you say that?
How about the one? This one came out. This one was earlier this year. I think it was in June. That more time had passed between when episode 1 came out and now as between episode 4 and episode 1?
It was like more time has passed between episode between Star Wars episode 4 and episode 1. There's more time than episode 1 and now. I think
there's more episode 1 came out and now
And, like,
is a longer period of time than between episode 4 and episode 1.
Episode 1 came out in like 97, I think.
Yeah.
Or 98, something like that.
Yeah, and it's now been
so it's 20 years between those two, between 77 and 97, and it's been more than 20 years since 97 to today.
Right.
It actually hit this year, so whatever the gap was, it was.
Early, yeah, it was like a lot.
Or the one that I saw earlier on Facebook, just a couple weeks ago, was the fact that Will Wheaton is now 2 years older than what Captain Picard was when they started filming Next Generation.
You said that on Friday, and that blew my mind right there.
Yeah, Patrick Stewart was something like 45 or
He was 47.
47.
And I had no idea. I thought that he looked like he was already in his late 50s, early 60s when.
The thing is, he looks pretty much the exact same now.
I mean, he's starting to definitely show his age now. I mean, he's 80.
Finally.
After 8,000 years, he should.
I would say for me, it was more so when watching Logan, and we could really see him because I mean they needed him to look like a tired old man.
They needed him to look haggard.
Yeah. So.
And same thing with Picard. I think they make him look more haggard because he's supposed to. He's supposed to be, especially when in parts of the first season where he's sick.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm halfway through Picard season 1 right now, and you can definitely tell like there's like the current time period, and then they go back like 14 years in the past, right?
Yeah.
But they do some
de-aging.
Yeah. Like, is that de-aging, or is that just how he actually looks, and they age him actually for the rest of the show? Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and so something for Russ and I to talk about tomorrow is the fact that Lower Decks is back. And I've watched the first 2 episodes so far, and it's absolutely fantastic.
It's so good. Yeah,
I haven't watched the second one yet, but I watched the first one.
The second one's better than the first one. The first one I was like, eh. The second one was it really picked up in the second one. But yeah, I
love all the callbacks that they do. All other generations. Like they talk about like very specific episodes of Next Gen, Voyager. And that all the fans would be able to pick up on, as though that's just
there is a lot of
curriculum that they learn about in Starfleet, for example. Like, this happened to Riker on the Enterprise, and
it's very referential, and I love that. I fucking love it. It's so cool.
But
I love that. Yeah, I mean, is she a salt vampire? I mean, really, what is she? It's just like all these different things. It's so cool.
So we're getting off topic there, though. So as far as the game goes, you guys had just last time we played, you had just gone to the temples, and then you went out into the woods to look for.
Into the woods.
The woods. You went out looking for the hags that you're looking for, and found some bugbears instead. Fought them, and then you had just come back to town, and that's where we ended it because of the immense amount of technical difficulties. Which, if nothing else, getting around the table again, I'm hoping will resolve a lot of those.
That would be lovely. Would be lovely, but yeah, it was definitely it was an abrupt ending, unfortunately, because we're just like, we can't do this anymore.
Yeah,
and so it'd be nice to get back.
That was probably our shortest episode. It was only about 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it was about 2.5 hours is all we did. Once I got it up, that's about all it was 2.5 hours.
We started late, and then we had a lot of interruptions and breaks and issues with it, and then we decided to call it an early night when we finally hit a point when we were just having too much difficulty, right?
Thankfully, yeah.
Yeah, people kept.
It was painful, man. I was like,
well, And the thing is that I played on Saturday as well. That next day, and or no, last week Saturday, and we were having just as many problems.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Bob was losing the map, and people were disconnecting, and it wasn't quite to the extent, but it was enough to where it was a problem. What I may be doing in that game is we may stop using the public Jitsi servers and using the on in-game. While I like the in-game audio-visual, I may just kill all of that in-game, and we may just go back to Discord, which is what we were doing on Roll20, and just talking in there, because Discord is solid.
We never really had much difficulty when we were on Discord. We have had like 1 or 2 hiccups, but it was very, very like rare that we had any issues.
Discord has all of the fucking servers. They got plenty of fucking servers.
Mm-hmm.
They never have any resource management issues.
Yep.
Thankfully. Because that's what it was built for, was gaming.
Yep.
And
when you're talking about something that this guy put together, which is a cool product, the Foundry stuff and the Forge is a really cool product. But the Forge was built for... He basically said he never anticipated his own success. And he never planned for it.
And unfortunately that happens, I'm not sure if this was ever a Kickstarter, but that's a problem with a lot of Kickstarters, actually, is that they have a particular goal and they go so far beyond their goal, it becomes bigger than ever anticipated, and it becomes overwhelming. And
they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
It's actually one of the issues that me and some buddies were going to do a Kickstarter for a game, and that was part of the concern was, well, what if this really does take off and becomes a big thing? Because we've already had tons of interest in it, but it's a niche market. It's all for curling, so it's.
Could you? I don't know exactly how Kickstarter does, but could you ever have put a cap on what your what
you can cap
earn?
You can cap how many things you're going to give out for Kickstarters.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them have $1. Thanks a lot. We appreciate you. Thanks for donating and helping out. Or even $5. It's a thanks a whole lot. We'll put your name somewhere or something like that.
Yeah.
It's when you get up into the bigger ones, $50, you get a copy of the game. That type of thing.
Right.
And you can cap and say, okay, so we're going to give away, 100 at this level. And it's like the whole thing that Critical Role did with a lot of their higher end ones, like lunch with the cast and stuff like that. And that was like $20,000 or something like that. And there was one of those.
Okay.
Which it did sell, by the way. All of their big stuff sold. And I'm sure that it was
sure.
like Joe Manganiello and the celebrities that were throwing that kind of money around. But
I don't know. I think there's a fair amount of people that have that type of cash to just throw around too.
I sure don't.
I don't. I wish that I did, but
yeah, I want that kind of money. If I was a billionaire, I sure as hell wouldn't be building penis rockets and trying to go into space.
No. They definitely need to redesign that rocket. It needs to be redesigned.
Dude, personally, I think it's perfect because it shows exactly what it is, and it is a big dick measuring contest, is what those three are doing. And Bezos is just not playing around with it. He's like, this is how big my dick is.
It's big enough to achieve orbit.
Yeah. Granted, it's a man-made dick. It's not. It's also possibly quite a bit of overcompensation. So,
You think?
So, Chris, just curious.
As we're on, Twitch, which is owned by Prime.
So, Chris, in a couple months, I think there's going to be 2 new books coming out for D&D, right?
Yep, I have already ordered both of them.
Oh, you have?
Yep, because D&D Beyond actually had a big sale this weekend, or actually last week.
20% off, right?
Yeah.
20% off all books, so I went ahead and pre-ordered both of them.
Even on the pre-orders.
Yep.
That's nice.
So yes, I pre-ordered the
Fizban's
Witchlight one, so the Feywild,
Okay.
and Fizban's Dragon Encyclopedia or whatever it is.
The Feywild one has come out, hasn't it?
No, it comes out September 21st.
Oh, okay.
One's September, one's October.
Okay.
But there's also Strixhaven.
I'm not interested in Strixhaven. That is a Magic the Gathering world. It's
okay.
it's actually a campaign setting that I never plan to use. So
Okay. So what's the other one called then? I just thought it was just those two. I didn't know that there was another one.
it's the Magic of the Feylight or Beyond the Feylight or something like that. It's
supposed to be very Harry Potter-ish, honestly.
Oh, Strixhaven is, yeah.
Yeah.
It's based around the Wild Beyond the Witchlight is the other one, Pete.
Okay.
But yeah, Strixhaven it's a world built around a magical university.
Mm-hmm.
Is
There's
what it
like
is.
different schools of magic. All the different schools of magic pretty much compete with each other, and you know, and
I gotcha. So you're not planning on introducing Strixhaven at all, but
No.
the other two you're going to be reading through and potentially deciding.
The Witchlight one I will most definitely be using for certain things because it's going to fit with a lot of stuff that I had planned. The dragon one is just going to be a cool reference, and really that's what the Witchlight's going to be too. It's going to be a cool reference.
that's the thing, though, man. In almost any book, whether you're going to use it or not, there's generally something that you can integrate into your campaign. You know,
Unless it's
spell, or,
yeah. Unless it's a campaign book, in which case I'm not going to. I might get Strixhaven eventually. I might get Theros eventually. I haven't gotten that one either because that's another Magic the Gathering world, and I'm not using any of the Magic the Gathering stuff in the campaign right now. So
all right.
it's one of those. I've got other things I can do and use and stuff. So I just haven't bothered. First person who wants to play a horny rabbit folk bard is going to get a boot to the head.
That might bring.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. You know,
back.
there's so many, like in almost every campaign book or whatever, there's like a new race, or there's a bunch of new spells, or there's some character class, or there's some like a variation on the character. You're like, oh man, that might be kind of cool, you know, but
the problem I'm seeing with 5th edition right now is the same problem that 3.5 went through. And it's that they're coming out with all these books and they're making everyone more and more and more powerful. And it's getting to the point where it's quickly getting out of control. And that's why I don't like a lot of the stuff in Tasha's. Because they're like, oh, well, we play tested this. This isn't just straight Unearthed Arcana. Well, then I absolutely would hate to see what any of those were in the actual Unearthed Arcana. If this is the toned down, balanced versions.
Balanced, yeah.
Because it's just
actually,
crazy.
I think that in the Unearthed Arcana, they were doing a lot of like the psychic dice or something. They had like this concept of psychic dice, so like where you roll like a D8 and somehow that like affected a lot of abilities.
Well, and that may be something else that they're playing around with, but
that was in the Unearthed Arcana before Tasha's, and then when they converted a lot of that to Tasha's, when I was reading through it, they essentially dropped that whole concept.
But there is a lot of one of the things I've noticed is there's a lot more psychic damage in Tasha's. There's a lot of much more psychic warriors and
I
other
think it used
things.
to, when they were playtesting it for Unearthed Arcana, I think it was a lot more though.
Yeah, yeah. Like Bob said, here's my walking cannon.
Your walking cannon.
Yeah, that's the.
Yeah. No, I know.
Yeah.
No, there's some.
The artificers.
Yeah, that's the problem. You know, I like. I always like. Hang on, something is loud here in my ear. There we go. I always like the idea of extra shit. You know, like give me all the options, man. That's one of the things I like about D&D Beyond. It's like you can unlock all the fucking options, you know, and you can get all these different. Every book that you get unlocks more options, and if you're in a campaign with other people, every book they get unlocks your options, and then you can even unlock the Rick and Morty options. Like what the fuck, man? And then with all of the stuff all the customer, you know, or the homebrew shit and all this the stuff that's online where people are, you can pick and choose stuff. I want all the options. Give it to me. I want to, you know, all the fucking spells and you know, just let me flesh out everything in this character. But I do know that that's not always conducive to a cohesive campaign. That if you have too many options, you can make your dungeon master want to pull his or her hair out. So, and Chris, you know, I wouldn't do that to your hair.
No, Renee would be upset. She'd be sad.
She'd be sad.
And all you have to do is just ask Chris, and he's just going to say no to everything that you
He's just going to say no anyway.
Yeah, he said no to pretty much everything except for my custom spell that I pulled together. But I completely respect that, and I completely understand why.
There's a balance that I'm trying to strike, and
of course,
and
I completely understand that, and it's within your world,
your purview. Yeah.
So the world that you're creating, you need to make sure that it is that way. So that's why, you know, if there's something that I like happen to have an interest in, it like I bounce it off you, and then if you say no, it's like, all right, well, I'm not gonna piss and moan about it. There's no point in that because it would throw things out of balance.
Yeah. So, I said no to one thing for Bob already. Oh. I want to play a half vampire, half unicorn, half fey queen, half demon, half wereshark.
That's way too many halves. That's way too many halves, Bob. That's way too many halves. No. This is not an Anita Blake book. Right?
Yeah, about you know the first like 8 of those, or up to Obsidian Butterfly, they were fantastic.
Yeah.
After that, they got ridiculous.
Got them right there. Actually, I still, you know. Yeah, up to Obsidian Butterfly. I mean, I'll even say maybe in like Narcissus and Chains.
Narcissus and Chains is where it it really started going off the rails.
Right. And then from what I understand, the books have kind of circled back around and they're a lot less, you know, just kind of vampire porn. And I like porn, you know? I mean, but those books, okay, for those guys who've not read, the Anita Blake Vampire Hunter series are written by Laura K. Hamilton. They were hugely successful about 15 years ago, to the point where they were talking movies and TV shows, and Marvel actually picked up a comic book version of the first couple of books.
And they were werewolf porn too.
They were werewolf porn as well. But there's some really cool stuff. There was some she was basically a vampire hunter in a world where
necromancer.
And she was a necromancer, but I mean, started off, she was a vampire hunter with necromantic abilities. She could raise zombies, and in a world where vampires and werewolves and supernatural creatures existed, and essentially had come out of the coffin, so to speak, and had
undead Americans.
Yeah, and had gotten, you know, rights in America. And so instead of being a vampire hunter, she couldn't just go out and kill vampires. She became a licensed vampire executioner when they broke the law. So if they broke the law, they couldn't just put a vampire in prison because that's just not the way you could do things. So they would just like, look, you break the law. Yeah, they're too powerful. You break the law, you die. And this is who we call in. And she's this short little woman with long black hair, long curly hair, that's just a badass, right? And then, like I said, her day job, she raises zombies for various different reasons, like to question somebody who just recently died on because to question their will or something, or different things like that. And,
or she might even work with the police and question them about if somebody that was murdered. And
so she was their preternatural expert too.
Yes.
For the division of the police that handled supernatural crime. So anyway, I mean, so there was always a murder mystery. There was always a crime to solve. There was, but then after a while, the books became all about vampire and lycanthrope politics. And then it became a lot about Anita's relationship with the head vampire of the city and her relationship with the alpha of the werewolf pack, and it was just like,
and then it became the leopards and
the leopards, and and then she just would get more and more powerful too. Like her magic just kept getting more and more and more powerful. And like I said, at some point, it was like, hey, this is pretty cool. It's pretty cool, not bad. I'm liking this. But then it all became about Anita Blake and her magical pussy. And I'm, as much as it's a terrible description, but it really was. It was about, having sex with this woman made everybody more powerful. And then
go ahead.
Little man.
Okay, now Pete, we have to address why your son is wearing a Santa suit in August.
Hold on, I was like, what's that? Go on. Nothing, just a joke. Love you, good night. Okay, have you heard of Elf on the Shelf?
Of course.
Okay, who hasn't, right?
That's right.
Those are his Elf on the Shelf pajamas. And my son, my youngest, that's Jackson there, it can be middle of August, the temperature is pretty hot, and he will wear winter level pajamas that are like the fleece type material even today, and be able to sleep with it with no problem. He loves those pajamas. Those are his favorite ones. And they have two pairs, one for him and one for his brother, but his brother doesn't really wear pajamas very much. So he always ends up wearing them, and he just loves the Santa Elf on the Shelf pajamas that we got him like a couple of years ago. So
I blame you, Pete. Chris, we're gonna have to take up a collection. We have to get his son some X-Men pajamas, or Captain America.
He is absolutely obsessed with Nightmare Before Christmas.
Okay,
that is his absolute favorite movie of all time, and he loves Jack Skellington, Jack the Pumpkin King, or Jack who plays Santa Claus. So I think there's also a little bit of that going on too. That because he's got like right next to his bed, I swear he's got like a little mini shrine to Jack Skellington. We went to a Comic-Con a couple of years ago, and he found this like Jack Skellington. It was what are they called? The little dolls that have like the big heads. That there's
the Funkos.
The Funkos, but it's an actual like a stuffed animal Funko.
Okay.
So it's about like this big. And it was like,
and
it was like $50 for this darn thing because it's from Comic-Con, so it was like priced up. He bought it with his own money. It was like a stuffed animal, and he has that thing everywhere he goes. He's absolutely obsessed with it. It is like his personal like safety blanket, and he has to always have it.
So sorry, I'm laughing because Bob just posted in chat.
Fake propaganda.
Yeah, Elf on a Shelf is fake propaganda to allow the sneaky little bastards over your safe threshold.
It's true.
Yeah. So I think that's also why he likes wearing the Santa costume, because it makes him a little bit more like. And his name is actually Jack, or short for Jackson. So he has a lot of connections to Nightmare Before Christmas, and he loves Jack Skellington, and he loves Santa, and so.
Well, who doesn't? Well, how old is he?
He's nine.
Okay. Well, what 9-year-old doesn't love Christmas? I mean, come on. Let's be honest here. So, but I do feel
it is a mini obsession on his part, though. I mean, like how much stuff he truly has that is Jack Skellington related, and
maybe we'll have to see about. Maybe you'll have to see about contacting a makeup artist that that can paint your son's face as Jack Skellington for Halloween.
I may have to take you up on that. He has costumes for Jack Skellington. We're even going down to Disney in a month, and we're doing that Halloween Boo Bash. And I think that's a big part of it is like they do like Nightmare Before Christmas type thing with that character. So we're gonna be dressing up, and that's gonna be his costume as well. So, but I think that's why he wears the Santa pajamas all the time, is because it kind of reminds him of that as well. Like he's being Jack dressing up as Santa.
He's getting ready. He's like
ready.
getting his brain and his body.
I mean, come on, 9-year-olds. I mean, you're thinking of Christmas all year long. I mean,
birthday.
At that age.
It depends. Which one's next? My birthday or Christmas?
As soon as your birthday is over, it's Christmas. Is all you're thinking about. So
now, I feel bad for the poor people who had them both like within even the same month, let alone like the same day.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yes, or Halloween. That Halloween for me was a big one. I looked forward to Halloween. Halloween I looked forward to more than Christmas a lot of times. I still do to this day. Halloween's a bigger holiday for me than Christmas is.
Mm-hmm.
Halloween is the best. It is the best. Fellas, we should probably wrap things up. I'm getting hungry. I got to make some food.
That sucks to be you.
It's been an hour.
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna have to bring your own snacks on,
no
on
kidding.
Friday.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, so
Renee pointed out a couple times that we don't have snacks for anyone. We don't really have any type of snacks. Just so you know, I'm like,
and Bob said, and go work on the logo, Russ.
Bob, you're not helping the situation at all.
Well, when you actually did get up and left, he's like, he went to work on the logo. I'm on my side. All right. Well, we should wrap things up. Russ and I will be back tomorrow night at 8:00 for our Nerds with Alcohol show. And then we will be back 7:30, 6:30 for you, Russ, on in the Nerd Basement. You're not as late as you used to be. Come on, you even admitted that you were perpetually late.
I am perpetually late.
And now you've got Stella, who makes
even
you
worse
crazy.
than I am.
Yeah, it makes
my
you
God.
crazy.
So we were going to the movie, right, on Saturday, and I'm like, okay, we need to leave at 5:30. The movie starts at 5:50, and the movie theater's not that far away, but we need to go.
You got 15 minutes of previews.
We did, thank the gods, because so we're like leaving. I'm like, babe, we gotta go. Babe, we gotta go. Babe, we gotta go. I'm like, son. And finally we get in the car, and we're like, I still haven't gotten the tickets. I'm like, and I really like the previews. And it's just like it was driving me. It's driving me crazy. And but we got there in time. There wasn't we didn't miss any of the movie. We missed all the previews, but we didn't miss any of the movie.
No, but the
Karma.
like it always sucks when you do miss the previews, because that's one of the that's a fun part of the experience too, is seeing what's coming up.
Yeah, I like watching the previews. I hate the shit ton of fucking commercials at the beginning now.
No, absolutely. I'm just talking previews
and I'm
upcoming.
I'm not a Maria Menounos fan. I'm so tired of Maria Menounos.
They say those at the gas station too.
Yeah, exactly. She's on GSTV. But anyways, yeah. So 7:30 this Friday, we will be back for Tavern Knights. We'll see how it goes. It's gonna be take a little bit. I might need one of you, whoever sits on the end, might need to actually work the camera at the end of the table a little bit, because if we get into any fights or you guys start doing anything, I will probably be standing up and we'll need to move the camera. But since we don't have a camera person, might just need a little help from you guys to move it there. And if I sit down, just move it back real quick.
Yeah.
So until we can figure out something else. But otherwise, I think it's gonna go well.
No,
we'll
last
see.
week was a good test run. I thought that it went pretty well. You can still view it on Twitch, I believe, right
Yep.
now, right?
Yeah, it'll be up for another week and a half or so. Because they're up there for 2 weeks right now.
All right, cool. Guys, be sure to join us at all the places you can find quality podcasting, particularly tomorrow night on at 8 o'clock. We had Nerds with Alcohol with Chris and I doing nerdy things. And
we'll be talking all sorts of nerdy stuff.
We're gonna probably talk what if. We're gonna see if we can talk about the next episode of, or the first 2 episodes of Lower Decks, and I will do an initial spoiler-free, because Chris hasn't seen it yet, an initial spoiler-free review of Black Widow. Just initial emotions about it, because it's fucking awesome. and all the other fun stuff. Probably stay tuned, guys. We're probably going to have some guests on. I got a friend here staying here, 2 friends staying here that I'd like to have on the show. A couple of mermaids, one of which is a Twitch streamer that has actually shared or hosted some of our shows.
Cool.
A couple of times. So
very cool.
Yeah. And so we maybe not have her tomorrow night, but have her on the show soon as well. And she's a real live mermaid, guys.
She's gonna be on with her flippers on?
No. Not at all. So
when she's on land, the magic converts her over.
Merlin gives her legs.
Yeah. That's great. Just throw water on her. Isn't that how it works?
Exactly. That's how it works.
That's
totally how it works.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for tonight. Thanks a lot, guys, for coming out, hanging out with us. Thank you to everyone that was on. Thanks, Bob, for jumping in the chat. Maybe sometime in the future you can actually jump on the Zoom call once you're actually in the game. So we'll be back here doing this 2 weeks from tonight to cover up what we actually do this week, and we'll talk about how it went. So
absolutely.
All right. Okay. I think that's gonna about do it though. So have a good night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.